Hi, everyone. Andy Goldberg here. Welcome to the Founders Chair podcast. Very excited to have on the show today Sean Walls from the Optical Factory and Kilmarnock Hearing Care. Sean, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Andy. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you very much. Our listeners won't know that, well, they probably won't know that I interviewed you 10 years ago on live radio on
Yeah,
FM, and lots happened since then, hasn't it?
yeah. A lot's happened, to be fair.
So let's catch up then. Why don't you tell everybody, first of all, just a little bit about you personally, Sean, where you're from and your personal story, what your hobbies are, and so on.
I think so. I was born in Glasgow, and I was born in north of Glasgow. So I was born in a town called Postle Park. Uh, and then at 4, I moved to another area called Milton. So kind of housing scheme in Glasgow, a bit rough and stuff like that. And I was the fourth boy in my family. Uh, my mum and dad were desperate for a girl, and then out I pop.
They told,
Uh,
they told you that they were desperate for a girl.
Yeah, I've heard that many a time, to be fair. Uh, and then about 5 years later, my little sister comes along. Uh,
Thank
but
goodness for
I've
that.
loved, I know, but I've loved that. I loved like being the fourth boy. I think that's I think that's a thing that's installed in me. Do you know what I mean? I need to fight for everything, and like we would all literally be fighting and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So I quite liked it. I liked having my brothers. Uh, so yeah, grew up there until in my 20s type thing. So. Uh, And then from an early age, I always worked. From like 12, 13, I worked in shops after school and worked on ice cream vans and stuff like that. 14, I was working on an ice cream van. And then at 15, I used to run 2 ice cream vans.
Well,
I know, seeing I think back on it now, obviously, a different generation. I was like 1998 or 99. Uh, but the guy who owned ice cream vans would just allow me to manage them. So I would book the drivers and do the stock and the cashing up and all that. And I was working at 15, I was working 35 hours a week. I would do 5 hours a night, 5 nights a week, and then I would do 10 hours at a weekend. And I was earning £35 a week, which was the same as my brothers were earning, and they were working, they were doing like YTS jobs. So from about 15, I was almost financially independent. So
wow. So schoolwork and your studies was really just something that got in the way.
did, Andy, to be fair, and I was good at school. I was almost disenfranchised with it because I was almost working and earning, and school almost kind of got in the way. Do you know what I mean? And as soon as fourth year was done, as soon as I could leave, I left. I left school at 15, basically. In June, I was 15. And a couple of little jobs, and then got a job working in Vision Express in Glasgow. So this was the first ever opticians that ever done a 2-for-1. It
Uh,
was buy one pair, get one pair free. And I get took on as a 6 week temporary job during a promotion on, and then get kept on. And then I was there for 3 years, and that's where I started to learn how to make glasses and all aspects of making them. Uh, and I loved that. I loved it. It was a great job. And then I moved around a few different other opticians. Uh, and then at 23, that's when I became self-employed.
so tell us about that then. What made you decide to become self-employed, start your own business, and what at what point did you feel you had the confidence to do it on your own?
So, as I say, I was working in an optician's practice. Uh, and this was a practice that grew. They had like 7 stores within 2 years or something like that. Grew really fast, but cash flow issues. And looking back on it now, I've always kind of went back to that, even in my own working life. So the practice was closing down. So I'm 23 at this point, and I then think, I reckon I could set up my own business making glasses for opticians. So I sat and worked it all out, and I needed about £10,000. So Clydesdale Bank would give me the loan. I never seen it as £10,000 I was borrowing, Andy. I seen it as £200 a month. And I thought, could I pay that £200 a month over 5 years or something like that? Could I pay that? And when I agreed that, yeah, I could manage £200 a month, that's when I thought, right, I'll set up my own business. And then I'd done a kind of blend, so I would still work part time somewhere for someone and then try and build up my own clients and contracts. I was based out of my brother's garage and stuff like that, so no premises or anything. Uh, but I just believed in it. I just thought I could do this. I know I can make this work. So,
Okay, so tell us about your company now. You've branched out. Um, Tell us, the services you offer, the locations you're at the moment, who your
so the
typical
business
customer.
is, yeah, so it's growing. It's grown through the years. It's grown and I've shrunk it and I've grown it and I've shrunk it again. So primarily, I when I'm 23, I set up a spectacle lens manufacturing business, and I'm making glasses for opticians. And I won one tender. There was 100 pairs of glasses a day. So suddenly now I need staff, I need premises, I need to build. And then that business grew and it pivoted over the years and stuff like that. But I get to 2009 and the work's boring. Like I'm not enjoying it anymore. And I decide I'm going to convert from a manufacturing opticians into a retail opticians. But I retained my manufacturing unit, which is based in an industrial estate. And when I set up the optical factory, nobody had ever done this before, really. You know, I'm not an optometrist. I'm in a terrible location. It's the industrial estate that the dump is in East Kilbride, and that was my reference point whenever anybody wanted to know where I was. So traditionally, opticians were in high streets or shopping centres. I was something a wee bit different, but I believed that you could park at my door. My rent was cheap, and I reckoned I could pass those savings on to patients. Uh, and that's how we set it up. And it grew from there. It grew into the business partner with multiple sites and stuff like that. And then in 2015, I added audiology services into the practice. I was always fascinated with audiology, and I thought it was a good mix between optics and audiology.
Hmm.
Uh, and I found the industry really, really exciting and engaging. It was something new for me, so much so that I decided to go back to university to train to be an audiologist. So what age? I'd have been 40s or something like that. Running three practices, involved in Chamber of Commerce, small kids, and I decided I'm going to go to uni as well. Do you know what I mean? And add that into the mix. Uh, so I graduated in June 20 as an audiologist. And then I have the chance to buy an audiology business in Kilmarnock, which I bought with somebody. It was Kilmarnock Hearing Care. Uh, so I've still got the two businesses just now, and
Yeah.
we've expanded it up and just opened a new one recently in Paisley. We've opened up Paisley Hearing Care as well. So two different sectors. I've got optics and I've got audiology, and I'm still active in both. I still really enjoy both of them.
And so you still do clinical work. You still do.
That's my Yeah, Andy. That's my favourite. But see, if I'm in like a clinical room or if I'm in making glasses, that's the bit that I enjoy the most. The admin and accounts and paperwork is my least favourite. But actually, in my audiology business, give me a room with clients booked in a diary. That's my
Mhm.
favourite. Do you know what I mean? That's the bit I love.
And I guess that's one of the benefits of being a business owner is you get to choose where you spend your time.
Yeah, yeah. That's one of the benefits. You get a little bit of flexibility. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess
Uh,
what's the downside though? I mean, who's the if not you, who's the business who's fulfilling the role of
well, that's the thing. So, and I've said that to somebody recently. I've almost got four different things going uh, between my East Kilbride optical practice, my two audiology practices, and we have a contract, an NHS contract that we over Ayrshire. We provide hubs, hearing health hubs. It's almost like four different projects I've got to run. Uh, and I've joked about it that every problem's my problem. So that's one of the downsides, you know what I mean? That everything flows up to Sean. So it's the kind of trade off.
yeah.
Uh, that's what I get for being a professional skiver.
So what would you say has been your biggest learning as a business owner then? Why don't we just go straight there? What on your journey, because you've been doing this a
Yeah.
while now, what have you had to get better at? What have you had to kind of understand about being a business owner?
Everything for me, Andy, I've made it up. Somebody asked me this recently, did I study it? at university or anything, and I didn't. You kind of wing most of it. Uh, you do stuff. Does it work? I've got a little saying, do and review. So I'll do something. Does it work? If it doesn't work, just stop doing it. Do you know what I mean? We'll drop it if it's not working, or if it is working, right, great, let's keep that going. Can we expand that? And I've had to do that through everything. Do you know what I mean? As I said, I'm comfortable with optics. I've been doing optics 35 years. Learning audiology was quite scary. You know, it was something new and challenging, and then you get imposter syndrome. Am I able to do this? Do you know what I mean? Can I run an audiology business? Uh, but see if I can like fake it till I make it a little bit. Do you know what I mean? I can pretend I know what I'm talking about, and then I work it out as I go. That's kind of got me this far.
So you got your education at MSU. You know MSU.
Yeah, yeah,
Make shit up, right?
yeah.
Um,
That's pretty much me. Yeah,
but it's in all seriousness though, what you're saying is true and pretty bad, which is that they don't teach the stuff at uni or in school, right? Like you
yeah.
can't
I
get
can
a degree in
imagine.
business ownership. You can get a business degree, um,
Yep.
but they don't teach you practical, hands-on, day-to-day how to run and grow a company and survive and lead people and do
Yeah,
stuff that you need to survive. You've just got to make it up, and then, like you said, do it and then review it and see what
yeah,
works.
yeah. And if it doesn't work, it's all right to fail at stuff, Andy. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of people take that to heart, but you don't know. Do you know what I mean? So you try it. It's like with marketing campaigns. Like we'll try something and it sticks or it doesn't stick. So if it sticks, then that worked, and if it didn't, let's do something else. And you're right that they don't teach stuff like that. It's the real life stuff that a lot of people need because people then feel like a failure, maybe. Do you know what I mean? And maybe it puts them on the back foot. But it's all right just to make stuff up as you go. Do you know what I mean? That's how you run a business, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was never a very good student academically. And when I was in uni, they're teaching me theory and,
Yeah,
and I don't understand it. And when I got into Action Coach 15 years ago, and, we're learning how to grow a business and how to coach business owners, and they just tell you, okay, do it this way, do it this way. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Someone
yeah,
tells you what to do and how to do it. We
yeah.
overcomplicate it, right? I think academia kind of overcomplicates things sometimes.
Andy, when I was at Queen Margaret University to train to be an audiologist, and you're right, we're doing lectures, we're doing classes and stuff like that. I was like, man, just give me somebody's ears and I'll work it out. Do you know what I mean? Because otherwise, it's reading about it for me, like that doesn't quite stick. But practically using my hands, I'm like, oh yeah, I get it now. Do you know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
I want to get just stuck into it. So
Well, I'm
got it
glad I
now.
wasn't the guy with the ears when you were saying, just give me the ears. It's
We're
not
not practicing on each
it's
other.
not
Do you
an
know what I mean?
expensive experience.
I'm all right now. To be fair, we've been through thousands. Uh, but when we're doing it in uni, I'm like, ah, right, hurry up and get a lecture finished so I can put that into practice. Do you know what I mean? And then it'll make more sense to me when I'm looking in an ear or when I'm doing a test. It'll make more sense when I'm doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Okay. So Sean, you made a comment earlier. You said I'd grow and then shrink and then grow and then shrink. So that's
yeah,
sounds like a fairly typical business journey.
yeah,
Maybe not an ideal journey. I mean, it's one thing to grow and then level off and then grow and level off.
yeah.
What have been the challenges that you've had to face? And this is what people really want to hear, right? So
Right.
what would you say have been the biggest challenges you've had to face over the years that have maybe caused you to have to shrink back now and again?
So when I had the optical factory, and we had two successful practices, and then we wanted to expand into a third. So we opened up a third and thought we could replicate the model, but very quickly I could tell something wasn't clicking. Do you know what I mean? It was whether it was a location, whether it was a setup, or maybe it couldn't replicate into a third one, and it was loss making. And it's then pulling down your two successful ones. Uh, and quickly I'd made the decision we need to let this go. Do you know what I mean? It's all right to fail. I've been taught a little saying in the past, and it's fail fast and fail cheap, and
Hmm.
that's all right. It's all right to fail sometimes and admit that didn't work. Do you know what I mean? And don't take it to heart. Uh, so then that was me shrinking back, but I was shrinking back to go forward again. That's what I believed that I was doing right. And then when I pivot into optics and audiology, the audiology pretty much brand new business. No patients in a database or anything like that. And then we've grown that up, and to something that's the audiologist became even bigger than the optical side of things. Uh, so it's just challenges. Do you know what I mean? And what do you want to prioritize? You prioritize one over the other type of thing. So, uh, but it's been great. The journey's been great and pretty settled and all that just now. So.
Have you had people maybe on the outside that have helped you or pushed you or inspired you along the way? I mean, I know you mentioned business partners, but it is lonely. It is a lonely job, or it can be being in business. Do you surround yourself with people to
So
help you?
yeah, you're right. It is a lonely place. Do you know what I mean? Because as I said, every problem's my problem, and there's times that you've got to make all the decisions. Do you know what I mean? You're the one responsible, and when you've got staff, these people are relying on you. Do you know what I mean? You've kind of got to get it right, and if you're not getting it right, then fix it quickly. I've had partners in both businesses, and both partners were great. Uh, but I've got like a small group of people that I can tap into. Get a couple of them are patients, and one's a friend within the optical industry. And I'll catch up with them maybe once, twice a year. Two of them, I hope they don't mind me saying, are a wee bit older, a wee bit wiser. They've had
Mm,
successful exits and kind of tens of millions of pounds. Uh, Not from my sector or anything like that, but they're just business people. And at the end of the day, business is business. You're selling something, you're making something, you're selling a service. So
sure.
they're really good for me. You know, I can sit and chat to them and they'll pick at things and just ask you stuff. Do you know what I mean? And make me challenge myself. So
Yeah.
so yeah, I've got a few people around me that I can bounce ideas off.
So what's the next big thing for you, Sean, in your business? What do the next 1 to 3 years look like in terms of opportunities and challenges?
So the healthcare, effectively I'm in healthcare. You know, we're in optics and audiology. I sell glasses, we test ears, we do hearing aids. The healthcare in the UK is going through a changing time just now with NHS appointments and stuff like that. I know it can be challenging. So I think the sector that I'm in, there's growth in our sector. We're dabbling with other industries as well. We brought in podiatry last year as a trial, and podiatry worked really well. So I think I've got the clients, we've got the database already. And I think what people are going to want in the future is access to services. You know, they're
Hmm.
going to want appointments. There's things that they want that maybe before they'd easier access to, and now that's becoming a bit of a challenge. So I'm trying to bring them in-house. So something completely different I don't know, but at the end of the day, it's appointments. Do you know, it's patients that want treated for something. So whether it's eyes, ears, or feet, in my mind, it's not that hugely different. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Good. I mean, it's been a long time since I've been in America, lived in America, but we had HMOs where everything was under one roof, right? You can go and
yeah, yeah.
visit the dermatologist and then the urologist and then the gynecologist and then, the podiatrist and the hearing and the vision. You can get it all
That's the
done in,
model.
in an afternoon.
Yeah, that's the model I'm going for, Andy. So last year when we had our podiatrist in, we would have patients coming in the morning, you know, and they're getting their eye test at 9, a hearing test at 9:30, and their podiatry appointment at 10:30, and they're leaving with three services in the one appointment. You know, so it's even great for the family that's doing maybe a drop off for a parent, that they're not having to go to three different locations, three different sets of parking challenges and time off work and all that. They're coming to mine, and it's like one drop off, one pickup, and I could see that. I could see then this works. Do you know what I mean? I can make this into something. So uh,
Yeah.
that's my focus. You know, and if I bring podiatry and that works, what's next? Do you know what I mean? What other service can I just bolt into this place? That my patients, East Kilbride's got 16,000 patients, Kilmarnock's got about 10,000. So my patients want services. What services do they want, and what can I offer them just to make their life a wee bit easier?
Love it. That's what people want. That's what people need, isn't it?
Well, I think now more than ever, that's what people are going to want, and they're going to access it. They want access to get appointments. So that's the thing that we want to introduce.
Final question, Sean. You'll be pleased to know, I guess. What advice would you have for business owners who are just venturing out on their own or who are thinking about venturing out on their own? What would be the number one piece of advice?
Number one, stick at it. I think, you know, if you've got an idea, if you believe in something, and if you think you can do it, you know, you'll come against challenges. You know, things will get in the way, uh, and have your motivator. Do you know what I mean? There's something that's got to drive you. For me, I've got three kids. I've got three boys, Benjamin, Jackson, and Ezra. They're my reason for going to work every morning. Do you know what I mean? I can have bad days, but I always think, I'm kind of doing this for the kids. Do you know what I mean? So that'll get me up and get me motivated. So finding that one thing that keeps you going. And then, as I say, my little saying, failing fast, failing cheap. If you're doing something that's not quite working, it's all right to deviate into something else, and knowing when to make that decision. Do you know what I mean? And not seeing it as a failure. If you look at most successful business people, they've maybe got failed businesses behind them, and that's all right. Do you know what I mean? It's all right to fail sometimes.
You're gonna, it's inevitable. You're gonna have,
Yeah, yeah,
you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna have bad days, bad weeks, bad years. It's,
yeah, yeah,
but like you say, it's the stick at it, right? The ability to persist and be,
yeah. And I think as long as you believe in yourself and you've done your numbers and you believe in what you're selling, do you know what I mean? Then keep going because something will turn. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes it's the Al Pacino speech from Any Given Sunday. A lot of times in business, it's the inches. Do you know what I mean? You need to fight for inches. Celebrate your small wins, but something you got to fight and claw and dig in. Do you know what I mean? Uh, and then hopefully it'll be the success that you think it's going to be.
indeed. Good film reference too. I like a good film reference.
An absolute dynamite movie, to be fair, and it stands the test of time. So just that one speech is unbelievable. So.
Indeed. So, Sean, you do a lot of work in Kenya. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do over there?
Yeah, so when I converted my business from a manufacturing business into retail, and at manufacturing we were making 350 pairs of glasses a day, and then suddenly now I'm making six, right? But I've still got the capacity to do the 350. So I want to do something, and I don't quite know what it is. And then I watch a movie called The Last King of Scotland, right? It's a movie with James McAvoy, and there's a scene in it where he spins a globe and puts his finger on it, and he ends up going to Uganda and he becomes the Prime Minister's private physician, Guy Fawkes. True story. So I watch this and I think, I'm going to do that. I'm quite fancy doing something like that. So I meet someone who's from Kenya who tells me that Kenya's home to the second biggest slum in Africa. It's called Kibera, 2.5 square kilometres and 1 million people live in it. And I kind of think, I want to go and see that. So I book a flight out to Nairobi, go and visit Kibera, and then one day I'm in a taxi and we're driving down the street and I seen a sign that said Kenya Society for the Blind. PSB. So I'm like to my taxi driver, stop, give me 2 minutes. This guy drives up on the pavement and I go into KSB's offices and I just say, look, can I help you guys? I can make specs. Like I must be able to help you somehow. Uh, so we have a meeting the next day and then they organise for 13 kids to have an eye test and six needed glasses. And I brought those prescriptions back to East Kilbride. And I make the first one and it takes me 10 minutes to make glasses, Andy. And I make the first one and I just think, wow, it's a kid in Kenya that's going to be able to see in school because I've just made these. Do you know what I mean? Uh, and that was it. We set up a charity and we've had it ever since 2009. I've done over 50,000 eye tests in Kenya.
Oh,
Uh, done over 50,000. So
amazing.
I'm out next week. So I've got 3,200 booked over four different schools. So I'm out to do that project. And that's what led me into audiology as well. That was one of my reasons why I went to Queen Margaret University to be an audiologist, because I wanted to take hearing care out to Kenya. And then I think it was 2022, I did my first hearing testing project in Kenya. And that was unbelievable. And they like fitting glasses on people was really cool and all that. But putting hearing aids on somebody and they can hear for the first time in their life, that's been something special. So I've done two hearing testing projects, and then in 2 weeks from now, I do my third hearing testing project in Kenya. And that's my most favourite thing I do through my work. And to be fair, my businesses help fund me to do this. Uh,
Sure.
but that's my favourite thing I get to do.
Do you go out there on your own to do this, or do you bring some support with you?
So I've had a wee mix of everything. Basically, I've took opticians out. I've had friends come out with me and do projects and stuff like that. Next week, when I go next Wednesday the 5th of March, I'm going out myself. But projects are almost about fully arranged. I work with Kenya Society for Deaf Children. It's an organisation in Kenya, and they have 147 deaf schools in Kenya. with about 200 kids in each school. So there's a company based in the UK that I buy hearing aids off, and they've recently done me a donation of 200 hearing aids. So I've got the hearing aids, I've got the skill set. There's kids there who need help. I just put it all together. So and it's excellent. And but I'm blessed to be able to do that. Do you know what I mean? I'm lucky, but I'm really blessed to be able to go and do that. It's really, really cool.
And people should know they can read about this and see photos of it on your website about all the
I
great.
think it's on the website. The charity's called Sight Aid International. So it's been running now for 15, 16 years, something like that. My oldest son, who's 14, he's done two projects with me. And it's my thing that I almost want. It's a legacy thing that my kids, my three boys, they then pick this up for me, and they get involved in these projects down the line. So really
Amazing
good stuff.
indeed. Well, Sean, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today. Thanks so much for being on the Founders Chair podcast.
Thanks a lot, Andy. Nice to catch up with you again.
It's definitely great to catch up with you. And thanks to all our listeners, as always. And keep an eye out for more podcasts on the YouTube channel. But in the meantime, I've been Andy Goldberg speaking to Sean Walls of the Optical Factory and the Kilmarnock Hearing Care. Thanks again, Sean.
Thanks, Andy.